In 2018, Santa Monica Studio released a game that changed the entire PlayStation landscape and became one of the most beloved games of the 8th generation of consoles, selling over 23 million copies. Of course, I'm talking about God of War, the 8th installment of the God of War series, and with it came major changes from the previous games to deliver something truly spectacular. But as it sometimes goes, a great game doesn't always translate into a good journey for the Platinum Trophy. And with a game as acclaimed as God of War, can the Platinum Trophy live up to expectations? There's only one way to find out. God of War has 37 trophies, including the Platinum, and according to most sources, takes around 40 hours to complete. The game itself starts off as linear, but gradually opens up as you progress through the story. Both Kratos and Atreus, the two main characters, will also gain unique weapons and abilities as the game progresses, meaning that not everything will be available to find from the beginning, which will mean revisiting areas later on, especially during the post-game. Most of the trophies fall under one of four categories: story trophies, which are unlocked for just progressing through the main story, side content, which is exactly as it sounds, and there is quite a lot of it, unique character abilities and weapons, and finally, the collectibles, which can cause some headaches if we're not thorough enough on the first playthrough. On the bright side, none of the trophies are missable, which means we can enjoy arguably the best aspect about this game, the story, without constant fear of missing items along the way. And with this information on hand, let's begin our journey into God of War. Heads up, this video will contain spoilers for the whole story. We begin our journey by controlling Kratos as he and his son Atreus mourn the death of his wife and Atreus' mother Faye and cremate her. During the tutorial section in the area around their house, we get used to controlling Kratos, understanding how his and Atreus both work together. Shortly afterwards, they gather Faye's ashes with the goal of spreading them atop the highest peak of the Nine Realms. This game leans heavily into Norse mythology, instead of the Greek from the previous God of War games, hence the existence of the Nine Realms. Kratos initially tells Atreus he won't be going, believing he is not ready. That changes when a stranger arrives at their house looking for something. The interaction doesn't go well, and they end up fighting, with Kratos seemingly killing the stranger. For now. The first story trophy pops for defending your home from the stranger. Understanding the situation, Kratos decides that Atreus can come along for now, that it is not safe at home anymore, and that they leave to begin their journey. Later on, we gain another trophy for obtaining a runic attack gem, which are a type of special attack that we can add to our weapons. We then encounter a dwarf called Brock, who we help, and as a smith, he can upgrade our weapons and armor, which he do, and another trophy pops for doing just that. We will also encounter his brother Sindri later on. Both of them serve the same purpose, but there is an ongoing story about their relationship if you're interested. We will also slot an enchantment into the armor, which unlocks a trophy. Another story event happens where we encounter a boar that Atreus shoots, only to be scolded by the Witch of the Woods, who with our help heals it. She aids Kratos and Atreus out of the woods into an underground cavern, where we hop onto a boat and sail out into the wider Midgard. Shortly afterwards, we encounter the World Serpent and progress towards the mountains, assuming that they are the highest peak. On the path, we see black mist blocking the way, and the only method, according to the witch, is to remove it using the magical light in Alfheim. We travel there, and while at one of the dwarves' shops, we craft some armor for Atreus, which pops another trophy. We progress through the rest of Alfheim and find the light we're looking for. Kratos dives in to retrieve it. While it's only been moments for him, it's been hours from Atreus' perspective, which of course leads to some anger. There is constant focus on Kratos and Atreus' relationship and how it develops, which in my opinion is one of the more interesting aspects of the game. We see these moments of understanding between the two, which makes this all the more believable. After defeating the Dark Elves, we return Alfheim to the Light Elves, which pops another story trophy for doing so. We successfully clear the mist and start ascending the mountain, where we fight a dragon on our way up, and eventually defeat it, which unlocks another story trophy. At the top of the mountain, we overhear a conversation between the stranger, who is revealed to be Balder, Thor's sons Modi and Magni, and Mimir, who is imprisoned up there. When the others leave, we talk to Mimir, who tells us that the highest peak of the Nine Realms is actually in Jotunheim, but the giants blocked the way. Knowing of another path, Mimir tells Kratos to behead him and use the Witch of the Woods to revive him. They do that, and the witch is revealed to be the goddess Freya. Kratos distrusts her due to his ongoing hatred of gods and leaves in anger. Mimir tells Kratos that a way to fix the gate to Jotunheim is to retrieve a fragment from Thamir's corpse. We go there and end up in a fight with Modi and Magni, where we kill Magni while Modi flees. We find what we're looking for and a trophy pops. During a side quest later, we unlock another trophy for fully upgrading a runic attack using experience points gathered. We're ambushed in Tyr's temple by Modi, and while we fend him off, it's clear that Atreus is suffering from an illness he's had all his life. Reluctantly, Kratos takes him to Freya, who tells him that the illness is caused by his status as a god, believing himself to be mortal. She says that she needs a heart of a troll from Helheim to cure him, but that the Leviathan axe won't work there, so we return home to retrieve the Blades of Chaos, which pops another story trophy. We reach Helheim for the first time and defeat the troll to retrieve its heart. Back at Freya's, Kratos gives her the heart, where she makes a cure for Atreus, but tells Kratos that he needs to know about his true heritage. Another story trophy is unlocked after doing this. He does this, which of course causes a change in his attitude and their relationship that builds tension between the two. It culminates back at the gate to Jotunheim, where they encounter Balder again, only for Atreus to betray Kratos and for the gate to be destroyed. Balder kidnaps Atreus, and the ensuing fight sees them descend the mountain and into Tyr's temple, where all three of them are transported to the inner depths of Helheim. Once we find Atreus in the rubble, another story trophy pops for saving him. We begin our escape from Helheim, where we find out that Balder is actually Freya's son, who was made invulnerable by her, as well as seeing a vision of Kratos killing his own father Zeus, as per the previous God of War games, which Atreus witnesses. Once we make it back to the Temple of Tyr, after riding a ship, a story trophy pops. Back in Midgard, Kratos and Atreus make amends before Mimir informs them that there is another way to reach Jotunheim, but it requires retrieving his other eye as well as some shenanigans in the temple. While exploring the temple, we unlock another trophy for finding all the collectibles for Atreus to learn the languages of Muspelheim and Niflheim. It also unlocks the realms of these places, but I'll get to those later. During a side quest, we reach an area called Veithagard, where we encounter our first dragon, which we free. We'll need to free 2 more in other areas for a trophy. After fully exploring Veithagard, another trophy is obtained for doing so. While in Veithagard, we also managed to fully upgrade our rage meter, which is this orange bar at the bottom below Kratos' health, which in turn popped another trophy. Back to the story, we discover that Mimir's eye was consumed by the World Serpent. After communicating with it, he agrees to let us go inside to retrieve it, which we do. Something clearly disturbs the World Serpent while we're in there, and we're thrown out near Thamir's corpse. This culminates in the final boss fight against Balder, with Freya intervening, trying to protect her son. We defeat Balder by making him vulnerable with some mistletoe, and we're finally able to kill him after he tried to end Freya. Freya is upset at us for doing so, and swears revenge against us. For now, there's nothing more for us here, so we head to Tyr's temple, where we're finally able to take the passage to Jotunheim. While there, we see some more story revelations, including that Faye was a giant, and that Atreus' other name is Loki, as well as some potential foreshadowing. We reach the highest peak, and finally spread Faye's ashes, which pops the final story trophy. We see the credits roll as we descend the mountain back to Tyr's temple, as well as some more foreshadowing back home to see the real credits. Now that we finish the story, it's time for the usual post-game cleanup. It will require going to all the realms for various reasons, but I started off in Midgard. After completing a side quest, a trophy popped for assisting all the wayward spirits, and another 2 appear in quick succession. First for killing 1,000 enemies, and a few minutes later another one popped for exploring all that the Lake of Nine has to offer. Speaking of side quests, throughout the game, Brok and Sindri will offer their own set of side quests, which we also finish during the post-game to unlock a trophy for doing so. While in the depths of Tyr's temple, we opened a chest that was missed during the first time there, and we were able to fully upgrade our health for doing so, which in turn unlocked another trophy. If you look at the world map, you'll notice a list of collectibles on the side there. There are several different types, and all of them are required for different trophies, hence what most of the postgame was actually spent doing. I did 98% of Midgard. The only one I couldn't do was the Court of Valkyries, which requires me to go to other realms first before I can complete that section, but I'll get to that later. I then went to both Helheim and Alfheim to get the collectibles that I wasn't able to during the first time around. These included the Valkyries that were hidden in secret chambers. While I was in Alfheim, I found the last artifact collectible, which popped a trophy for finding them all. Next, I decided to head to the world of Niflheim for the first time. This world operates differently compared to the others in that most of the area is covered in this poisonous substance which slowly drains us, meaning that there is a limited amount of time every time we traverse this zone. The center zone is called the Workshop, which contains treasures, some of which can only be opened using Mist Echoes, which is a material exclusive to Niflheim. Every time we head to the Mist Zone, we can open randomly generated chests to gain these, although if we die during a run, we lose the Mist Echoes we gain on that run. As you can see, this area is somewhat of a mini roguelike due to the random chests and changing enemies in the rooms. Either way, we slowly gained enough Mist Echoes for the treasures, as well as defeating the Valkyrie located in there. There are 3 Realm Tears in the Workshop, which contain enemies you must beat to earn a trophy. The toughest of these were the 3 witch-like enemies, and in all honesty was the toughest fight in the game for me because of how they all gang up on you. Eventually, after some frustration, I defeated them along with the other Realm Tears to pop the trophy for retrieving all the treasures in the Workshop. One of these treasures is the material needed to upgrade the Leviathan Axe fully, which I did a few minutes later back at Sindri's shop, and unlocked another trophy for doing so. Afterwards, I headed for the final available world, Muspelheim, where I needed to complete all of the trials. There are 6 trials which initially contained 2 easy and hard ranked challenges we needed to beat to advance further. At first, the last one looked like an exception as there was a final Valkyrie waiting for us. But after defeating it, it was clear more challenges were still there, as all that happened was that the impossible ranked challenges unlocked for each of the previous challenges. We also couldn't do the final challenge at the top until we had beaten the prior ones. Before talking about those, I'd like to point out that the Valkyrie we just beat was the final one hidden in the worlds, and that the only one remaining was now available in the Court of Valkyries back in Midgard. I'll get to that later, but for now, taking on the impossible trials, I was able to acquire the final material needed to fully upgrade the Blades of Chaos. I returned to Brock's workshop, where I applied this upgrade and obtained a trophy for doing this. I cleared the impossible trials in the lower trials, which weren't actually too difficult except for the one where you couldn't get hit. I went back to the final trial, which required us to beat 70 enemies within 7 minutes, which I was able to do with 30 seconds remaining, hence the trophy popped, and we were done with Muspelheim. I returned to Midgard and immediately made my way to the Council of the Valkyries, where we fought the final Valkyrie, Sigrun. This fight was one of the toughest in the game, and took many tries, but each time I got a bit closer to defeating it, and eventually, after some perseverance, I was able to beat her and unlocked the trophy for doing that. Those were all the combat trophies done. The remaining ones were linked to the collectibles. Shortly after defeating Sigrun, I freed the final dragon to obtain the trophy for freeing all of the dragons. A couple of minutes later, I destroyed the final Raven of Odin for that trophy. This is generally considered the most tedious collectible, as there are just so many of them, and can be easily missed, which means a lot of backtracking to previous areas. They do make a noise when you're nearby, but still, they were the reason why so many people didn't get the Platinum Trophy. I'm glad I finally got that one out of the way. The next 2 trophies were ones that could have been obtained much sooner, but I just forgot about them. They were ones for obtaining the Ancient Armor Set and the Traveler Armor Set. We actually acquired the necessary materials for them earlier on, but just didn't get around to crafting them. We rectified that by heading to the nearest Dwarven workshop and forged them in quick succession for the 2 trophies. That just left 2 trophies remaining. One for finding all the treasure sites on the map scattered throughout the game, and the one for finding all the Jotnar shrines. At this point, I had found all the treasure maps, and it was just a case of finding the treasures. There were 5 ones left to find, which now that I was fully focused on them, I made short work of to pop the trophy for that. All that was left was to find the one Jotnar shrine that I missed, which I later realised was in Veithurgard, so I travelled back there feeling like an idiot for running right past it earlier. This time, I didn't miss it. I opened it up, read what was inside, and the trophy popped for that, followed by the Platinum Trophy. My journey was over. After putting in just over 40 hours to obtain the Platinum Trophy, I can say that my journey was a mostly great time actually. The main story alone is worth the current price of admission alone if you care about that, but if you're up for a bit of a meaty Platinum with a few post-game challenges to test you, then you could do a lot worse than God of War. Thanks for watching this video, you absolute legend, and good luck on your gaming journey. Give a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the trip.